What's happening? Happy Monday to all of you. Thanks for joining me as always. I appreciate you. Of course, no show on Wednesday because of the holiday, so we'll get this in today. Then I'm back on Friday. Also a note, tomorrow, 10 a.m. until 2 p.m., I will be on 98.5 The Sports Hub with Andrew Callahan. I am looking forward to that show. Very excited to work with Andrew, so that'll happen 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. If you have a TV and you have any interest in watching this mug, it will be simulcast, of course, on NBC Sports Boston. And then on Thursday, I will again be on 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. This time on Thursday, it will be with Phil Perry. Also looking forward to working with Phil. Andrew and Phil, I'm not saying this just because I'm going to have shows with those guys this week. Both of those individuals are guys that I respect a heck of a lot. And actually, when I came back here home, I wanted to work with both of these guys, and I hoped that I would have a radio show with them to do, at least one of them. So Tuesday, tomorrow, Andrew Callahan, 10 to 2, 98.5, NBC Sports Boston. Thursday with Phil Perry, 10 to 2, 98.5, and of course, NBC Sports Boston. All right, let's get into the Patriots. A step in the right direction. I think all of us would agree, whether you still want Mayo here, don't want Mayo here. It might have changed your thought process on Mayo. I think all of us can look at yesterday's game and say, well, at least that was a step in the right direction. After what happened in Arizona, after all of the conversation that we had last week about Mayo's future, all of the players being asked about Mayo's future, that right there yesterday was a step in the right direction, especially the first half. And I do think that game, the Crafts, is going to be enough. I think yesterday's game, highly competitive against a 14.5-point favorite. You turn the football over 3 times in the second half. I think the Crafts will look at yesterday's game and they will say, that's enough for us. I think Robert Kraft, after yesterday, feels much better about his decision and keeping Mayo for 2025. I'm not telling you that's how I feel. I'll get to that a little bit later. But I do think yesterday's game makes the Crafts feel better about the situation, and it's something that they can point to and say, all right, it's starting to work for Jerod. The first half was mostly terrific. I thought the Patriots came out and they played angry. I tweeted that. If you want to follow me at Nick C Radio, it's right up here. And I tweeted yesterday, Patriots came out and they weren't just playing hard. They were playing angry. That Ramondre Stevenson touchdown run was the perfect example of seeing somebody who was playing angry. I mean, he ran through the Bills on that touchdown run. I thought they came out and they played focused. They played pretty fast. They had urgency right out of the gate. The defense, you want to talk about great coverage. The defense, that secondary yesterday was terrific. That's the secondary I thought we would see. Now, yes, we have to also acknowledge that the Buffalo Bills aren't ripe with tons of great weapons, but Josh Allen in that passing game, we talked about it last Friday, even though there's not a singular special talent at receiver or even tight end, that passing offense has been one of the best in the NFL this year. And Josh Allen is likely going to win the MVP. Coverage yesterday was terrific. Jonathan Jones was terrific. Christian Gonzalez, they don't even want to throw to that cat right now. I mean, Gonzo is just like, quarterbacks are staying away from that guy unless you are Kyler Murray, obsessed with trying to complete a deep pass to Marvin Harrison Jr. Quarterbacks don't like throwing at Christian Gonzalez because he's been one of the best corners in football this year. Alex Austin, since he came back from his injury, I think Austin has been pretty damn good. And before the year kicked off, I was preaching Austin as the second outside corner and maybe sliding Jonathan Jones back to safety, Marcus Jones in the slot. I like Alex Austin. I like what I saw from him last year. I like what I've seen from him so far this season. The secondary was terrific all day long. Drake Maye dropped a dime to Kayshon Boutte for that first touchdown. I thought the Patriots ran the football well. And with the bar, let's be honest, going into yesterday's game, the bar was very low. I thought the Patriots would lose by, 15 or so. I did say I hate double-digit spreads because you never know what's going to happen in those types of games. I wasn't comfortable saying that the Patriots would lose by more than 14.5, but you had to go off the Arizona game, the way Buffalo had been playing. So, I mean, it was a really low bar walking in. You just wanted to see the Patriots compete, and that's what they did. And I think the Crafts, because of that, will feel like it's enough. I don't even know if the last 2 weeks matter to the Crafts, especially Robert Kraft. Should they matter? I think they should. But I don't think the next 2 weeks, at least this coming week against the Chargers, that should absolutely matter. You can maybe look at week 18 and say, all right, what's going to happen, right? Who are the Bills going to actually play? And, are the Patriots kind of focused on next season? Week 18 for a team that's going to have 3 or 4 wins is always dicey. And it's also dicey for Buffalo because if they're not going to have the first seed in the AFC, they might rest a bunch of guys. You might see them play dudes for one quarter, or they'll want to make a statement against the Patriots because of what happened yesterday and play hard on that final Saturday or Sunday. And then, you've got, hey, that's what's going to happen, right? So I don't think the last 2 weeks are going to matter much to Robert Kraft. I honestly don't. Now, I'll get to whether or not Jerod Mayo is safe with me. But first, don't forget to do a couple things for us here with this podcast as you watch the YouTube channel. Click that thumbs up button. More likes means more eyeballs. That's how we drive traffic. We've had a tremendous last couple of weeks on this channel. I think we're going to have some awesome coverage over the last 2 weeks of this season, and then we get into the offseason. And I love talking offseason. You know that. I know that. We'll look at the draft. We'll look at free agency. There is so much to go over. I think the next couple of months, next 4 or 5 months, is going to be a terrific time for this YouTube channel. So don't forget to click that thumbs up. Drive more people here. Helps us with the algorithm. Don't forget to throw a comment in. I ask you, after yesterday's game, is Jerod Mayo safe to you? If you were Robert Kraft, is yesterday enough for you to say, Jerod Mayo is my head coach in 2025? Throw a comment in. Let me know. Answer that question. Those comments also help us with the algorithm. And, of course, subscribe. Trying to get to 5,500 subscribers. We're, behind right now. We've got a bunch of room to grow here and time to make it happen. Don't forget to subscribe. So like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, Spotify. We got video now at Spotify, which is pretty cool. You can check us out over there. Apple Pods, rate, and review. All right. So is Jerod Mayo safe with me? If I were Robert Kraft sitting in his office today, am I thinking, okay, the Mayo problem's been solved. He's going to be our guy in 2025. For me, I'd say not yet. Mayo is not safe with me just yet. I'll start here. The punt in the fourth quarter with about 8.5 minutes to go, less than 9 minutes left in this game. You're near midfield. You're at like the 45-yard line, your own 45. Under 9 minutes left. The fact that Mayo punted that football drove me crazy. And that's the kind of decision that I look at and I just say to myself, what are we doing? Has he learned anything this year when it comes to in-game strategy? Has he learned anything as far as his approach? His approach yesterday was very fascinating. I would say inconsistent. I'll get to that in a couple of minutes, but I really want to focus on that fourth quarter decision because to me, it was running the white flag up the pole. You quit on that game once you decided to punt the football. That game was over for all intents and purposes. My buddy Andrew Callahan, who I'm going to work with tomorrow on 98.5 from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m., he tweeted this yesterday in real time. Buffalo is averaging 5.8 yards per play and has scored on 2 of 3 possessions this half. If you're Jerod Mayo, this is what you're looking at. You're looking at an offense that in the second half is averaging almost 6 yards a play. They've had 3 drives. They've scored on 2 of those drives. On top of that, you're going against Josh Allen, who right now is going to win the MVP. 8.5 minutes left. You're down 2 possessions. You can't punt that football. You've got a 4th and 5, 4th and 6 scenario. You've got to go for it there. You cannot punt that ball. You can't punt that ball and give it back to Josh Allen. It's a similar situation if you punted the ball and gave it back to Patrick Mahomes or any other top quarterback in the league. You cannot punt that football if you're Jerod Mayo. You just can't. Because essentially what you need is 2 3-and-outs, and you need to score twice. in 8 minutes and 33 seconds. You need to shut down that Buffalo offense quickly, like that. Get the ball, score. Shut them down, like that. Get the ball, score. In 8 minutes and 33 seconds. What is the likelihood of you being able to do that against that specific team? And you're in Buffalo, and the weather conditions are not good, right? It's freezing. It's freezing. You're going against the MVP, most likely. You're down 2 possessions. There's 8:33 left on the clock, and you are looking at a 4th and 6 versus, we're going to try to go for this or punt the football. That is an egregious decision. That's the kind of decision that makes me want to put my head through a wall. And I don't care if you're a rookie head coach. That to me is an obvious screw up by Jerod Mayo. And that's the kind of thing that even if you have a talented team, you could hurt your team by doing that. Even if you have a talented team, you can cost your team the game with these kinds of decisions. That punt in the fourth quarter was inexcusable. It was illogical. The Bills get the football, and guess what? They run off more than 4 minutes of the clock. Game's over. Game is over. The Bills run out 4+ minutes, and now you gotta come up with a miracle. And of course, you ended up trying to get an onside kick. So inevitably, instead of going for a 4th and 6 with Drake Maye, you needed to have the onside kick work. And as we know, onside kicks in the NFL, they hardly ever work, especially now, because you have to tell everybody that you're going to kick onside. So that was the decision. At the end of the day, you're either going for it on 4th and 6 with Drake Maye near midfield, or you got to get an onside kick and drive down. It's outrageous. What Jerod Mayo did was give his team zero margin for error. And when you think about that, you don't have Patrick Mahomes. You don't have Josh Allen. You're not a team that's won, 9, 10, 11 games this season. You gave this 3-11 team playing on the road against one of the best teams in football. You gave them zero margin for error. You had to be perfect in the final 8 minutes and 33 seconds to have a chance to tie that game, let alone win the game after that decision to punt the football by Jerod Mayo. And how can you ask this team, this 3-11 team, to execute flawlessly? The offensive execution in the second half was a disaster. But now you're asking them to put together 2 drives against the Bills in a matter of minutes to tie that game. It defies any kind of logic. On top of that, the Bills were running the football down your throat. So you've got to try to conserve clock. You got 8 minutes and 33 seconds. You punt the ball to Buffalo. They're going to run the ball, and they proved that they can run the ball all day long against you. What made you confident that you were going to force a 3-and-out against the Bills not once but twice? What would ever give Jerod Mayo the confidence that that was going to happen? It was a ridiculous decision. And I also thought that Mayo, his post-game press conference, I don't want to go too crazy on this, but he answered the question as to why he punted. He said it was a field position thing. No, it's not, Jerod. It wasn't a field position thing. It was a time thing. You had 8 minutes and 33 seconds. You were down 2 possessions. It's not a field position thing. It's you're not going to have enough time to do what you've got to do, both defensively and offensively. It's a time thing. So, big picture again, I think it was a step in the right direction for Jerod Mayo. And I think it was a step in the right direction for the coordinators and everybody else involved with this team yesterday in Buffalo. You're a 14.5-point underdog. You competed. You played hard. You played pretty well, especially in the first half. I'd say you had a really, really good first half. That was the best half of football this season. You came out of the gates ready to play, prepared to play, with a good game plan on both sides of the football. That's a marked improvement from what we saw against Arizona. But I'm not letting Mayo off the hook just yet if I'm Kraft. If I'm thinking about 2025, I still have significant questions because of the in-game decision-making by your head coach. So the fourth down decisions, maybe some of you can make sense of it because I could not make sense of it at all. You start the game, you have a 4th and short, you punt the football away, being very conservative, right? It was like a 4th and 1, you decide to punt. Then you run a fake punt from your own 23, which is an incredibly aggressive decision. I didn't hate it. Okay, let's be aggressive. I've been screaming to be aggressive all year long. Fake punt from your own 23. Let's go. You're playing the Buffalo Bills. You're a 14.5-point underdog. I didn't hate that at all. I loved it. Showing me some aggression. But then what happened? I thought Mayo told me to shut the bleep up because I was tweeting about how conservative he's been. And then right away, he goes for the fake punt. I said, oh, that's a middle finger to me from Jerod, but I will accept that middle finger. I will accept being flipped off if it means he's going to be more aggressive. But then again, he went right back to turtling. Right after the fake punt from your own 23. In that same series, that same possession, you're looking at a 4th and short. And he punts the football. If you run a fake punt on from your own 23 on 4th and short, and then you move the ball a little bit down the field and you have a 4th and short, why do you not go for it on that 4th and short? You just ran a fake punt from your own 23. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. And then the punt that we just talked about. Watching yesterday's game, I felt like Jerod Mayo was flipping a coin on the sidelines to figure out if he was going to go for it or not on 4th down. It's just illogical. It's illogical to go for the fake punt on your own 23 and then follow that up with the other decisions you made on 4th and short. It didn't make any sense. It's literally, is he picking stuff out of a hat? Are they playing, rock, paper, scissors on the sidelines to figure out if they're going to punt or go for it? Super conservative, then unbelievably aggressive, and then right back to super conservative the rest of the game, including the decision that cost you any chance, any shot to tie that game in the 4th quarter. You decided to kick that onside kick when you had 3 timeouts. You could have easily kicked that football and tried to pin the Bills and hold them back there. But you decided to onside kick the ball. That's another strange decision. Ramondre Stevenson fumbles for the 7th time this year. And you decide to keep playing Ramondre Stevenson. This is exactly what happened earlier in the year when Ramondre fumbled the football. They put him back out there. And he made another mistake, which costed you a touchdown immediately, right? Because of that swing pass that wasn't a swing pass that turned into a lateral. So, again, the wishy-washy discipline from Mayo, especially in a game. He did it again yesterday. Ramondre should have been benched. He fumbled the football. Bench him. He's been fumbling. He got a little bit better over the last few weeks, but as soon as you fumble the football, sit his ass down. I know that he put Gibson back out there for a few more snaps, but, what are we doing? How many times are you going to allow Ramondre Stevenson to fumble the ball or somebody to make a mistake, and then you just keep playing them? And then this morning he tells WEEI, he tells the media that Ramondre might sit next week. He might be benched next week. Don't forget what happened last time. Ramondre Stevenson, same situation, fumbled the ball. He sat down. Then he was eventually put back into the game. Then Mayo came out that week and said that Stevenson was going to get benched. He wasn't going to start. What happened? Stevenson missed one series. He sat out the first series, and then he was right back out there the next week, right? He was right back out there the next series. So Stevenson getting benched, quote unquote, I would not be surprised if it's the same thing that we saw last time. Stevenson fumbles inside of a game. Mayo decides to not punish him in game, throws him back out there, and then talks about benching him this week. And then he'll probably miss the first series against the Chargers on Saturday and then be put right back into the game. So where's the discipline here? Lack of disciplinary action from the head coach. And I understand that some people are like, oh, they played hard. They played hard. Yes, they played hard, and I'm happy they played hard. And again, it was a step in the right direction. I don't want to lose the big picture as I pick apart some of these in-game things that bother me. The in-game things, they're not getting a hell of a lot better, right? But the big picture, it was a step in the right direction yesterday. But playing hard, the Jets played hard. You're going to keep Ulbrich as head coach? No. The Raiders won yesterday. Are the Raiders going to keep Antonio Pierce because the Raiders are playing hard? No. Like, playing hard is a good thing. That's a good thing for Mayo. It's on his good list this year during Christmas season, right? He could put that on the good list. But that should not be the reason. A lot of people all of a sudden the last few days were pointing to that. Well, they're playing hard. Great, they're playing hard. They're being professional. That should not be the reason why he keeps his job. It's tough. It's tough because Mayo yesterday did not lose them that game. They lost that game because of the turnovers. You could look at that one swing pass that was a lateral as the reason why they lost the game, right? Buffalo recovers. Boom, it's a touchdown for them. That's the difference in the game. So I don't think Mayo cost them the game yesterday with his in-game coaching. But I would also say he didn't necessarily help them with a number of his in-game decisions. And if it were me right now, based off of what I've seen through 15 games, right now I would still look to hire Mike Vrabel. Right now, I'm still looking towards Vrabel. I still would want to bring Mike Vrabel in, replace Jerod Mayo, and let Vrabel pick his staff, everything that we talked about last week. That's where I'm at right now. Step in the right direction. We'll see what happens against the Chargers. Can they carry that over, or was yesterday just a flash in the pan? What happens if you go out there on Saturday and you get trucked by the Chargers? Do you feel any better about the game yesterday if you go out and get your ass beat by the LA Chargers on Saturday? So let's see what happens on Saturday. Step in the right direction yesterday, but for me, it's not enough to say I would keep Mayo over the option of hiring Mike Vrabel if that option was indeed out there. All right, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I want to get to Drake Maye and his performance yesterday and some other stuff. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's jump to a couple of super chats. Vitalix, $10 super chat. Thank you, Vitalix. Maye doesn't usually show much emotion on good or bad plays, but he looked terrified that he hurt Hooper. Also, does this team ironically miss Miles Bryant this year? I don't think they miss Miles Bryant this year. I think, look, Alex Austin, to me, is a credible outside corner as a second guy. Jonathan Jones has had a couple of bad games, but would Miles Bryant be able to lock down guys or do a better job? He might be slightly better in some instances. I think Marcus Jones has mostly been good. The problem with Marcus is his size, and that's the same problem with Miles Bryant. So the issues that Marcus has had in coverage, I think Miles Bryant would have the same kind of issues. So I don't think they miss Miles Bryant too much. As far as Maye showing emotion, he absolutely did. I wouldn't say it was a hospital ball, because that's, it's a tight NFL window and the guy, it's kind of a bang, bang thing. But you could tell that Maye was distraught after seeing Hooper take that hit. Now, the Patriots say Hooper's going to be okay, hopefully, because he's actually been one of the signings that has worked for Elliott Wolf and has worked for this team. But I did think that showed you a peek inside the soul of Drake Maye and why guys love playing for him, because he does care. He does care, and it was an immediate reaction. And so him showing that towards a teammate, that gets buy-in. Derek Irish, $5 super chat. Thank you, Derek. If the Pats pick second, what could they get for a trade down to 3 or 4? I don't know. I mean, a lot is unknown, Derek. First of all, who goes 1? Is it Cam Ward? I think a lot of people think that the Giants, if they have the first pick, will draft Cam Ward. So how do teams feel about Shedeur Sanders? Do teams believe that he's a franchise guy? How willing is Vegas, for example, willing to, trade up to land Sanders if they think he could be the guy? You have to look at past deals, right? Where do the Raiders land? If it is the Raiders who are dying to move up and draft Sanders, where are they? Are they picking in the top 3? Are they picking at 5, 6? Where do they land? Because if you're going from 3 to 2, you might not have to give up as much. But I mean, there's just so many questions, right? Like, what does Sanders do during his pro days, the combine, the interview process? What does Cam Ward do in those kinds of things? So it's really difficult without knowing where these teams land right now. I think many people believe this is a 2-quarterback class. So I think, generally speaking, Derek, you're in good shape if you get the second pick. And I do think that you will get a decent return for that number 2 pick. But how great of a haul, quote unquote, we really have to see how the next, couple of weeks play out, where teams are positioned and how those guys perform when it comes to, again, the combine season and all those other things. All right, let's jump to Drake Maye. Again, thanks for the super chats. I thought it was a mixed bag for Maye. I thought he got off to a great start. I thought that first drive was excellent. Thought the TD throw to Kayshon Boutte was bananas. The interception in the end zone, that was a miscommunication. He called it a miscommunication. I tweeted out the video, and I actually took a screenshot of when he just let go of the football. It's not a great throw from Drake. He could have put a little bit more on it and put it in, a slightly different spot, but he's thinking Hooper is going to break on that play. He doesn't know. It's an anticipatory throw. And with an anticipatory throw, things have to work out the way you think they're going to work out, or it could end bad, right? So he's letting go of that football. Kendrick Bourne gets blown up. There's kind of traffic in front of Hooper. Hooper then stumbles. So Hooper kind of rounds out the route instead of breaking sharply towards, I think, the front pylon, which is what Drake thought he was going to do. So again, not a great throw, but I understand what Drake saw and what he was thinking. Brian Hoyer on NBC Sports Boston last night put it on Maye. He played NFL quarterback, so, I guess you would side with Brian Hoyer. But I thought, it's a tough play because you don't know that Hooper's going to stumble, and you're thinking he's going to run towards the front pylon and break that route off. He's going towards the back pylon, the back corner of the end zone. So just a miscommunication, not same page kind of thing. The Ramondre Stevenson play, the lateral, that was interesting. First of all, I think Drake Maye put a little bit too much sauce on that throw. He put a little bit too much on that. He needed a little bit more of more touch on that throw, number one. Number two, Demontre Jacobs gets blown up. I tweeted that in real time. He's trying to throw a cut block, so blown up isn't the right word. He's trying to throw a cut block, and he misses his cut block, so the DN just kind of jumps over him. So your right tackle misses the block. Jalen Polk misses his block at wide receiver. So now you got two defenders barreling down on Stevenson. Mayo said this morning, and I agree with this, Stevenson should have flattened his route. And, he kind of curls behind Maye for the swing pass. If he flattens that route out, they might be more even, and it's not a backwards pass. So that's also on Stevenson. And Maye threw it too hard. And if you're Drake, you could just throw that football away, right? If you recognize that the cut block didn't work and, Stevenson's going to get lit up, you can throw that at Stevenson's, feet. You can throw it at his feet. You could chuck it 8 feet over his head and just throw it out of bounds. You can do a lot of things instead of what Drake did. So I thought that play had some to do with Drake as well. I also think that play has some to do with Van Pelt, because you call that kind of play, everything has to work perfectly. You have to execute that perfectly. You're at your own 11-yard line. So you need to make sure that Jacobs can make that block. Demontre Jacobs did not play well yesterday at all. So I'm not trusting Jacobs to make that block where you are on the field and in that moment what's happening with your offense. So I didn't like the play call. I thought it was too risky of a play call, even though it was not meant to be a backwards pass. It was too risky of a play call because you're banking on Jalen Polk and Demontre Jacobs. Are those the two guys? And you're banking on Ramondre Stevenson, who just had a fumble. So if you're Alex Van Pelt, you're putting your hopes on that play to be executed perfectly by a right tackle that's been a mess, and it's just because he's not supposed to be out there, frankly. You're banking on the rookie wide receiver that hasn't done much at all correct, and since week 2 or 3, and you're banking on you're putting your hopes into the running back that literally just fumbled the football a little while earlier. So I would not have made that play call if I were Van Pelt. So bad play call, bad execution on multiple Patriots. It backfired. It was the play of the game for Buffalo. And that was the difference when you look at it, right? At the end of the day, you just can't have it. You can't have it. A touchdown like that and a 3-point loss is brutal. But Drake Maye, again, there was good. The dime to Kayshon Boutte, that was a terrific throw. There were several third down conversions. He hit Henry early for a third down conversion. He had a fantastic scramble on a third down to convert that. There were other plays that he made on third down. There was the play that he made when Antonio Gibson did a fantastic job of picking up the blitz. That's another video I tweeted out yesterday during the game at Nick C Radio. Gibson picks up the blitz. Tremendous job by him. Maye buys a little bit of time, throws off like one leg, and makes a great throw to Kayshon Boutte. That was a terrific play. So there were the plus plays, as they call them, from Drake. No doubt about that. There were the plus plays. I also thought one of the parts of the game that will go overlooked, especially because the Patriots lost, was the back-to-back throws that Drake made from his own end zone to swing field position in the second quarter. It happened right before the fake punt. The fact that you can run that fake punt on your own 23 is because Drake made two confident throws with his back to the, field goal post, which got you a first down. And at least, even though I thought Mayo should have gone for it again on fourth down later in that drive, at least you swung field position in a close game because Drake was very confident throwing from his own end zone and made a couple of good decisions to extend that drive a little bit. So I thought Drake was good. I didn't think he was great. I thought he was good. I thought he was really good early. The turnovers, again, you got to look at it, the circumstances surrounding those turnovers. But overall, I thought your rookie quarterback was good. In the first half, I saw many people tweeting this, Evan Lazar and stuff. Analytically, Drake Maye outplayed. He outplayed Josh Allen in that first half, and he outplayed him significantly, looking at the analytics and the statistics. So you'll take that any day of the week. All right, some other stuff that stood out to me. Speaking of Drake Maye, we had designed runs. We had some designed runs. I don't know why it took until week 16. I have no idea why, but at least we saw designed runs. The first design run, that read option from like the 5, I think Drake's correct. He said in the postgame that if he cut it upfield instead of trying to, extend it out more towards the edge, if he cuts that upfield with Henry's block, it's a touchdown. They call it a hold because Maye tries to, go around Hunter Henry and hit the edge. He should not have tried to hit the edge, and he admitted it. If he cuts that run up, it's a touchdown. I don't think Henry gets called for a hold. So that was a bad decision by Drake in real time running with the ball. I thought it was a good play call by Van Pelt. It was there. It would have worked. He just had to cut it up. So you had some quarterback designed runs, which was nice to see. The one thing I don't quite get is we've been making all this stuff, about we can't run him. Just last week, Van Pelt was talking about trying to take care of him and getting him healthy through the last 3 games. But then you come out on Sunday and you have him run multiple times. So maybe Van Pelt's trying to throw off the Bills thinking they won't run Maye, possibly. The one thing that didn't make sense to me, though, was the fact that they ran a QB sneak from their own 1-yard line with Drake. That was the same series that I just mentioned where Drake made back-to-back throws from his own end zone to get that first down. The first play of that series was a Drake Maye sneak. Doesn't make much sense. You were willing to sneak Drake Maye from your own one, but all season long you've been unwilling to have him sneak like inside the 3-yard line of the opposition. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's very confusing. I also thought the last drive took forever. I thought Van Pelt ran the football too much on that drive. They took way too long to operate that drive, to get downfield, especially given, the situation with, what Mayo decided to do, punting the football. Again, that's the zero margin for error. You've got to execute perfectly. That drive took forever with Van Pelt. He's taken a long time, and it's like, we got to go. You got to have more urgency. In that situation, the Patriots should have been hurry up offense, get to the line of scrimmage, put the game in Drake Maye's hands. Let him operate at the line of scrimmage and just go. Let him rip it. And Van Pelt's sitting there calling run plays like you've got a whole the entire quarter. So I thought that was bad from Van Pelt on that drive. They did not show the urgency, and the run, too many runs during that drive. You ate up too much clock. It's got to be quicker than that. I was happy that Antonio Gibson got more snaps than Ramondre Stevenson yesterday. I've been screaming from the mountaintops for that. Gibson got 43 snaps. Ramondre got 32 snaps. Now, of course, the fumble might have changed those numbers a little bit, but Antonio Gibson against the Cardinals had like 16 snaps. So, I mean, he more than doubled and nearly tripled his snaps yesterday compared to the Arizona game. And I think more Gibson is a good idea. I've said it since the beginning of the year. I think he's been terrific. If you were hoping for the young wide receivers, yeah, I would give up hope at this point for this year. Maybe one or maybe both of them in 2025 show something, but this season is effectively over for Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, and the snaps tell you that. Jalen Polk had 3 snaps yesterday. He played 3 snaps in that game. Week 16, your second-round pick is playing 3 snaps. Brutal. Baker played 8 snaps. Not great. Mentioned earlier that the man coverage was really good defensively. I thought Covington did a good job, step in the right direction for him as well yesterday, along with Jerod Mayo when you look at the big picture. They mostly contained Josh Allen. Allen had 154 passing yards. Evan Lazar wrote this: Allen ranked in the 50th percentile for this game when you look at EPA per dropback. Buffalo did not have a single explosive play through the air. Patriots defenders registered 5 pass breakups to go along with an interception. Gonzalez was awesome. Alex Austin was really, really good. Jonathan Jones was great. I thought Kyle Duggar early on, right, was really good. Marte Mapu, I'll get to him in a little bit, but I thought that secondary played very well yesterday. Very, very well. And I also thought that the defensive front, I tweeted this as well, I thought the defensive front was disciplined against Josh Allen. When you play against Allen, you know he can kill you running the football. I thought, 98% of that game yesterday, the Patriots showed good discipline up front. They were not getting too far downfield. They were not losing the edge. They were keeping Allen kind of within the pocket. I thought the defensive front showed us some discipline, which we haven't seen consistently this year. Lazar wrote about the Patriots' defensive game plan. It used a mush rush to keep Allen in the pocket. Defensive line didn't have many chances to rush the passer. The coaching staff harped on compressing the pocket. Again, keeping him inside that pocket so he doesn't extend, so he doesn't scramble around. I thought they did a good job of that. New England's plan held the Bills, according to Lazar, to nearly 15 points under their season average. Allen produced his 4th lowest EPA per play output of what has been an MVP caliber season. So Josh Allen statistically had his 4th worst game of the year yesterday. So tip of the cap to Covington, tip of the cap to the coverage. Of course, the run defense was bad, really bad. They gave up 172 yards. They got blown out on that James Cook 46-yard touchdown run. They gave up too many big runs in the second half. But when you're playing against Buffalo, we talked about it on Friday. I was like, it's going to be a Christmas miracle if this defense can kind of hold, their own. A Christmas miracle played out yesterday. Your run defense wasn't very good, but when you're playing against Buffalo, it's like you got to pick your poison. If you do a good job against Josh Allen, then you feel like you did a good job. And so I would give the defense some good marks yesterday. I'd give Covington some good marks because inevitably they made this game about James Cook and running the football and not about Josh Allen. And that's what you've got to do when you play against the Bills. If you allow a Josh Allen party, Buffalo's going to score 35, 42 points. You're going to get blown off the field. So I thought overall it was good. It was a good day for the defense considering the expectations, the circumstances, who you're playing, etc. Marte Mapu, I thought, was good. I know. Look, I tweeted it in real time. You got to take a knee. You got to take a knee when you pick that off in the end zone. And you could tell that Mapu knew it right away because once he went down, he kind of just threw the football. And Mayo said that when he got to the sideline, he was immediately apologetic. That was a dumb decision by Mapu. He knew it. You can't do it. You can't put your team on the 1 yard line, your own 1 yard line in that situation. Just a bad, silly decision. But Mapu played well, man. He had at least one pass breakup, if not a couple of pass breakups. He forced a fumble. Buffalo recovered it, but he forced a fumble, and he had that interception. So I thought Mapu, who hasn't played, he hasn't played consistently. He's been inactive, I think, 3 out of the last 4 weeks. He played 43 snaps yesterday. Jabril Peppers out, right? So Mapu, who's been inactive, for him to jump into that spot against that quarterback, against that offense, and play as well as he did, I thought it was a great day for Marte Mapu. I mean, before yesterday, you might be saying Mapu is not going to make the team in 2025. He still might not make the team in 2025, but I thought he showed himself pretty well yesterday. He played a good game. That's tough to do. You sit out 3 of the last 4 games to just parachute in on the road against that quarterback and that team and play as well as he played. That is absolutely credit to Mapu. All right, Tuesday, tomorrow, 10 a.m., 2 p.m., I'm with Andrew Callahan on 98.5 The Sports Hub. We'll also be simulcast on NBC Sports Boston. On Thursday, I'm with Phil Perry. Same deal, 10 to 2, 98.5, NBC Sports Boston. Excited for those 2 shows. Of course, we have no show on Wednesday because of the holiday. So Merry Christmas to every single one of you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for supporting this podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The support has been awesome. The numbers have been climbing the last couple of weeks, and we have a lot to get to over the next few weeks and really the next few months. So I'm looking forward to it. Everybody be safe. Again, have a great holiday, a fantastic holiday. I'll talk to you tomorrow on 98.5 from 10 to 2 with Andrew Callahan. And for this podcast until Friday at 3 p.m. here on YouTube, I appreciate every single one of you. Again, ho, 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 Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, all that good stuff. Joyous Kwanzaa, right? Hanukkah, all those things. Happy holidays to every single one of you. And I'll talk to you soon.